27 days until the midterms, and Fox News power rankings show Republicans are poised to take back the House, winning 231 seats with only 218 needed to control the lower chamber. You're watching Fox and Friends First here on a very busy Wednesday morning. I'm Todd Pyro.
Good morning, Todd. Good morning, everybody. I'm Carly Shimkus. The Senate also coming down to the wire with 4 seats in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, still considered as toss-ups. Republicans in those races are making their final pitches on the issues that matter most to voters.
If Mark Kelly got just a few more years in office, right, he would continue to vote as a rubber stamp for Joe Biden's failed agenda. And I think independents are going to flock over and vote Republican up and down the ticket in November because parents' rights and our children are just way too important.
John Fetterman has been blocking their efforts to protect the people of Pennsylvania. My opponent has also opposed cash bail, which prioritizes criminals over victims.
We got to get out and vote. We got to change it. I'm tired of hearing people complain. All I'm hearing right now in Washington is people complaining. They did it. The people on the left did it.
Marianne Rafferty with more on what the president is thinking into the midterm elections. Marianne.
Good morning, Carly and Todd. As we enter the final weeks before the midterms, the latest Fox News power rankings show just how close the races might be. The GOP showing an advantage in the House, 231 to 204 over Dems. And when you factor in toss-ups, Republicans still ahead, 215 to 189 with 31 potential toss-ups. Over in the Senate, the GOP has a slight lead with 49 Republicans to 47 Democrats with 4 toss-ups there. Despite the numbers showing a Republican advantage, President Biden touting what he's managed to do so far.
They're concerned about whether or not I can get anything done. Look what I've gotten done. Name me a president in recent history that's gotten as much done as I have in the first 2 years. Not a joke. You may not like what I got done, but the vast majority of the American people do like what I got done. And so it's a matter of, can you do the job?
Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania Senate races will ultimately determine which party will seize control of the Senate. Republican Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz continues to zero in on crime.
There's a reason why the Fraternal Order of Police for the entire state of Pennsylvania endorsed me, and they endorsed me unanimously. John Fetterman has been blocking their efforts to protect the people of Pennsylvania. There's a lawlessness that permeates the very fabric of Philadelphia now.
And Bernie Sanders says the Democrats should spend less time talking about abortion and take the fight to Republicans on the economy as GOP candidates take aim at the Biden economy as high inflation sends prices skyrocketing.
People think that Republicans are going to do a better job for them than Democrats. What we have got to do is take the attack to Republicans on the economy. Don't be on the defensive. You got 60% of the people in this country who are living paycheck to paycheck. Millions are working for starvation wages.
And tomorrow's Consumer Price Index report may make it harder for Democrats to take the economic fight to Republicans because it could prompt the Fed to get even more aggressive with its plan to hike interest rates. Carly, Todd?
All right, Marianne Rafferty live for us. Thank you. Honing in a little more on one of those races, Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman used a computer to understand questions in his latest one-on-one interview. Even the NBC reporter admits she had a hard time following the conversation.
In small talk before the interview without captioning, it wasn't clear he was understanding our conversation.
I'll hear someone speaking, but sometimes I'll be able to be precise on what exactly that they're saying. I use captioning.
His campaign required that he be allowed to use a transcription program on his computer during our interview.
Fetterman says his lingering health issues, quote, changed everything and require him to use a captioning system while taking interviews. But he insists he will be much better by the time he takes office if he wins. And Todd, that is the question. He was at one time up by double digits, and the race is really tightening. A Real Clear Politics has Fetterman up by just about 4% now.
This is serious stuff. We're not making fun of a health issue. We're pointing out a health issue. And also MSNBC, actually, the ones airing that interview, pointing out these serious questions about his ability to communicate. Look, Senator is a rigorous job. Travel, long stretches of debate. Every Pennsylvania resident needs to seriously ask themselves if he is up to the task and able to carry out the duties of the office. We had Congressman Comer on earlier, and he agrees. Listen.
let's face it, health is an issue in an election. If you are running against someone who isn't fit for the job, either physically or mentally, then that's an issue. So this is clearly going to be an issue down the stretch, and it could be the thing that actually tilts it into Oz's favor, because we have to have healthy senators who can make it to work and who can perform the job.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a debate coming up, the one-on-one debate between Oz and Fetterman. Oz wanted more time, and Fetterman has been very cautious on that, obviously, because of what he's struggling with right now. There's also the issues in the issue of crime and his priorities. When President Biden went to Pennsylvania, do you know what he used the opportunity to do? He used the opportunity to ask the president to legalize marijuana. Like, that was like his one main thing. And then there's also crime. We just reported on it. 186 kids shot so far this year in Philadelphia alone.
Yeah, the cities in Pennsylvania.
And he's the lieutenant governor, so
exactly.
He is in office right now.
Complete speculation here. I wonder if the Democrat plan, hear me out, is to get Fetterman elected, and then under a gamble that the governor that would be elected would also be a Democrat, would then get to appoint Fetterman's successor if he were to step down pretty early on into his senatorial reign. We'll see. It's a 6-year term. So, you know, if he gets in there in January and by February he's like, I can't do the job,
or maybe he'll get better by then. Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
But we're wishing him the best, of course, when it comes to the health issues. But like Dr. Oz said when he was on with Martha McCallum yesterday, he said, I feel for him so much as a man, as a patient. Obviously, right. Oz is a doctor. But he says this just really boils down to a question on if he can serve the people of Pennsylvania.
Great point. Strokes are no joke. They're serious. We wish him the best from a health perspective. Meantime, over to Georgia now, where Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is reportedly evicting disadvantaged tenants in an apartment building owned by his church. New court documents reveal tenants are being kicked out over as little as $28.55 in past due rent. Many of those veterans and people with disabilities. All this while Warnock rakes in a pastoral salary of $120,000 a year. But wait, there's more. That on top of a $7,400 monthly housing allowance. That's high. That's high for New York, much less Georgia. His opponent, Republican candidate Herschel Walker, says he won't let that happen, promising to cover overdue rent balances. Quote, I will personally pay the $4,900 in past due rents to keep Reverend Warnock from evicting these people.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.